Hello and welcome back to All About Community. I am certainly delighted to have as my guest Jane Williams, who has her own State Farm agency. Jane, welcome to All About Community.
Thank you, Bob. I'm glad to be here.
Well, you may not say that when I finish asking questions of you, but I'm just
Okay,
joking.
we'll see.
Don't take me seriously. Again, this is All About Community, and my name is Robert L. Harris, and my guest is Jane Williams. As I said before, she has her own agency right here in Oakland. Jane, where's your agency located?
I'm in the Laurel District on MacArthur Boulevard in between High Street and Maybell. And I've been there about 30 years now.
30 years? How could you be that 30 years when you don't even look to be 30 years old?
I know, isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Time flies.
Yeah, let's talk just for a moment about your background. Where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born in Tuskegee, Alabama, and I lived
Tuskegee,
there.
all
Yes,
right.
I was there.
The home of Booker T, is it?
Right,
All
right, and the
right.
Tuskegee Airmen. My mom was from Tuskegee and my dad was down there working, so I lived there until I was 6. And then we moved back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where he was from, so that's where I grew up.
Oh, okay. Then how did you end up in California?
Oh, after I went to Carnegie Mellon for undergrad and then ended up in grad school at Columbia in New York and came out here to work for IBM. So I did that for 12 years.
What did you do at IBM?
I sold mainframe computer systems,
Oh.
the big computers at the time, and it was a
What did
great
they call them at that time? Big Blue or something?
Big Blue.
Big
right,
Blue.
right, that's
Woo.
right, that's right. All the guys had blue suits and white shirts, and when I was there, they were just kind of starting to get women. So I did that for 12 years selling the computers, and that's where I really picked up all my sales skills.
And were you located here in the Bay Area?
In San Francisco.
In San Francisco.
So I came out from New York out to California, didn't have any family or anything out here, just a few friends, and that was, 1971, so eons ago. I've been here ever since.
And what influenced your decision to go into business for yourself? How did that happen?
Well, being in corporate America doesn't give you as much flexibility, and then you've got all the political aspects to it. And I had a young family at the time. I had 2 children, and starting my State Farm agency offered me much more flexibility to be in my kids' lives. So I could go on field trips, I could be the room parent, just kind of really be more engaged and not have to worry about watching the clock from 9 to 5 at my job. So it just gave me that flexibility to be a mom and have a business.
Why State Farm?
Oh, well, it's the best, of course. It's the best company.
Besides being the best, how did you decide State Farm versus some other business?
Well, I had a good friend who was a State Farm agent in Oakland, and he had said, Jane, you ought to look at this as an opportunity. And I didn't really know much about insurance at the time, so I did some research and talked to a lot of people at State Farm to see if it was a good opportunity for me. And they're a really good company. They're family focused. They brought Cedric, my husband, into the whole interview process to make him comfortable with me becoming an agent, to make sure he was on board and supporting it. And then I decided to take the plunge, and I haven't looked back since.
Now, did you have to do any special training?
No special
become an agent?
training, no, and they actually like people that didn't have any insurance background. I had the sales capability, so that was really good, even though not everybody that starts with State Farm does, but I had that in my background. But you have to be a people person, you kind of have to be detailed oriented, like what you're doing, so it's been a good fit for me.
Now, when I think of, at least I used to think of State Farm, I thought about just insurance on cars and homes. But I understand it's much more than that. Is that correct?
Yes, you're absolutely right. That's what most people think about because most of our commercials are on auto insurance. But we do auto insurance and home insurance. We also have a large percentage of our business is life insurance, and most people don't realize that we're actually one of the largest life insurance companies around. So we protect a lot of people's income. We do disability insurance also, and then small business insurance. We have a lot of offerings for small business owners, and that's an area that I'm particularly interested in. I work in that a lot.
Well, let's talk for a moment about auto insurance, which is probably the most prevalent kind of insurance around, since most people drive, not all, but most. How do you know if you're getting a good deal?
Well, okay, so it's not about getting a good deal.
It's not?
No, it's not about getting a good deal. You want to make sure that you have the right coverage. So for me, I work with my clients to really make sure that if they have a loss, that they've got the right protection in place. So if you're searching for the cheapest insurance, you're doing yourself a disservice. You really want to have a plan that works for you. So it's really important to really understand what your auto insurance covers, and a lot of people don't really realize that. So when I work with my clients, it's important for me to understand, what do they do for a living? Do they own a home? Are they married? Do they have kids? Because all of this information goes into putting the right plan in place. Because I want to make sure that if they have an auto accident, that their assets are protected, that they've got enough coverage that's going to take care of whatever damages they've caused to someone else. Because the danger is, if you don't have the right coverage, you can get your wages garnished up to 50% for 20 years. They can go after the equity in your home. They can go after your savings. So your assets are at risk if you don't have the right insurance. So that's why I say you should not chase the best deal. You need to make sure that you have the best coverage possible for what you can afford. And working with an agent is important.
So it's not about getting the best deal?
No, you want to make sure you have the right coverage.
You want to get the right coverage. With that, we're going to have to go to break, but you just have to remember, you want to get the right coverage. Don't touch that remote. We will be right back with All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host.
Rebecca Kaplan puts progressive values in action.
We have a responsibility to stand together in solidarity.
For those who are breathing toxic air every day, we will continue to work together to strengthen our efforts.
Join us and vote Rebecca Kaplan for Oakland City Council.
On November 3rd, East Oakland will make a critical choice. Your vote is about saving the Oakland we love. Shortages of affordable housing, homelessness, blight, and safety. And because we're at a crossroad, we need change. We need leadership that is responsive to the people. Marcy Hodge will see us through the challenges and fight for our district. Do your part, and she'll do hers.
I'm Marcy Hodge, your candidate for Oakland City Council District 7. Let's save Oakland together.
Hello and welcome back to All About Community. When we went to break, I was talking with Jain Williams, State Farm agent right here in Oakland, and she was explaining to me it's not about the best deal, it's all about the right coverage. Jain, that was a very good lesson for me, and I think it's the same thing would probably apply to homeowners insurance, because oftentimes people just want to, I got some coverage, but they want to make certain they have the right coverage.
Right, and so in my experience, what I found is people get their home insurance and sometimes don't ever look at it again, or years will go by. But in the current environment that we have today, where there have been all these wildfires, the cost of construction has gone up quite a bit. Materials and labor costs have increased. So the coverage that you had 5 years ago to rebuild your home based on a certain amount is not adequate for today because the costs have skyrocketed. So that's why you want to make sure, you want to look to see what's in your policy, because most likely if you've had your coverage and you haven't looked at it in several years, you may need to increase it. And that is what you get with the value of having an agent, because today there's so many people that are buying insurance over the internet without having any communication with anybody. There's just not a good understanding.
So you don't recommend buying insurance over the internet?
Well, buying it over the internet is fine because we do that at State Farm as well. But in addition to that, you really want to have an agent that you can talk to. So you can buy it over the internet, and then you have a person that you can talk to make sure that the coverage that you selected is correct. Because many of us just don't have the background in insurance to know what's important. to know what features they ought to have. So that's the value of having an agent that you can talk to and can hold your hand and guide you and tell you what you need.
Do you offer that service?
Of course, yes we do. And that's one of the nice things about State Farm is we are an agent-driven company. So what I do with my clients, I really try to provide education on what the coverage offerings are and then let them select what is most appropriate for them, but in an educated fashion so that they understand what their exposures are. We try to fill those gaps for them so that if they do have an unexpected loss, that they've got the right plan in place so that they'll be able to recover by using State Farm's money to handle their loss and not have to go into their own pocket themselves.
What about renter's insurance? Should people have renter's insurance?
Absolutely. If you rent, you definitely ought to have renter's insurance. It's so affordable. Our policy starts at about $11 a month. And with that, you get coverage for your personal property. You get liability coverage if someone slips and falls and injures themselves. But what we've seen...
Oh, the person, wait a minute. They slip, that's the landowner's responsibility.
Not necessarily. If you
really?
if you caused it, maybe you have a skateboard lying around or something on the floor and somebody trips, or you're having some kind of party in the backyard and something happens that you caused due to your negligence, then you could get sued as well. So it does provide the liability coverage for you. And what we see even more today is what we call loss of use coverage, where if you are in a fire and you cannot stay in your apartment because your building has burned or it's got smoke damage or whatever, then we will actually pay for you to stay in a hotel temporarily while your place is getting repaired. And so the $11 a month gives you limited personal property coverage, and that's when we talk to our clients, we find out what's the value of everything that they own and give them the proper limit for that. But it's very affordable. Everybody should have renter's insurance if you're renting, I believe.
Wow. Now, what about personal items like rings and all jewelry and all that type of stuff? Should the person really insure?
It depends on how you feel about it. If you're okay losing that item and not getting compensated for it, then you don't need to have the extra coverage. There is limited coverage for jewelry in your homeowner's or renter's policy, so you have to look to see the value of your items. If it's higher than that, if you want to cover it. And then if so, we have something called a personal articles policy, or what many people call a floater, that you can put the jewelry on. Now it does give you broader coverage. So for instance, if your stone falls out, or if it falls down the toilet or the sink, or if you lose it and you don't know where it is, then it gives you coverage for that. So there may be certain items that you have in your home that you want to put on a personal articles policy, like photography equipment or paintings, because it does give that broader coverage. So say for instance, you had a laptop, you spilled coffee on it, it was damaged, that would be covered under the personal articles policy.
Oh, really?
Yes, if there's an earthquake and a painting falls from the wall and you have it on the personal articles policy, it will cover the damage.
Well, what about earthquake insurance then?
Well, earthquake, and so the coverage for things falling from the wall is on the personal articles policy just for those specific items that you put on the policy. But if you have damage to your home or your apartment and you lose your personal property or there's a fire afterwards, you definitely need earthquake coverage to be able to rebuild your home.
I think it's important for people to understand that those are two separate insurance policies, right?
Yes.
Earthquake and then the normal insurance.
Yes, so if you want coverage for damage caused by an earthquake, you have to have an earthquake policy.
Wow, that is really fascinating. So my homeowner's policy will not cover me in the event of, and we know it's going to happen.
Right,
Big
absolutely, here in
earthquake coming.
California, yeah.
Yeah, so people should also investigate getting earthquake insurance. Do you recommend that?
Well, this is how I explain it to my clients, that your home is your biggest asset. You've got equity built up into it. If there's an earthquake and you don't have earthquake insurance, if your house slips off the foundation or if it's structurally damaged, you're responsible for repairing that yourself if you don't have the earthquake insurance. Now, people are concerned about the deductible being high, so it could be anywhere from 5% to 25%. So you can have a $50,000 deductible, but the way I look at it, it's better to have a $50,000 deductible and then have your house repaired than have no coverage at all and your deductible is really $500,000 or $600,000 or whatever it costs to rebuild your home. So you have to really kind of look at it from what you have to lose and what you've got invested in your home.
Now, this is very, very important. I think people need to understand that earthquake insurance is something that, especially those of us who are right here in California, something that we cannot dismiss. Don't touch that remote. Don't even think about it. We will be right back with All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host.
Many families are struggling in Oakland today. I've been there. I was raised in the Acorn Housing Projects by a single mom. She worked 3 jobs to get us out. Today, the restaurant I started provides jobs and second chances to formerly incarcerated people. The nonprofits I serve create opportunity for our youth. On the City Council, I'll bring Oakland together to finally address our biggest challenges. I'm Derek Johnson. Let's meet this moment together.
Hi, I'm Robert Bob Jackson. I'm running for City Council, and listen, I need your vote. I need your support. And also, I want to tell you that we're going to deal with affordable housing. We're going to deal with the homeless issues. We're going to deal with problems that's been in District 7 for way too long. I plan on making a change. Leadership you can trust. Vote for Robert Bob Jackson. I'm Robert Bob Jackson, and I approve of this message.
Hello and welcome back to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host. When we went to break, I was talking with Jain Williams. Jain Williams is a State Farm agent right here in Oakland. Someone you can trust, someone you can always depend on. I know, because she's my agent. It's always good to do business with people that are just like you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You are just like me.
Yes, that's right. We like to support each other. It's very important.
Support each other. We were talking about earthquake insurance, and thank you for explaining some of the reasons why it's so important to have earthquake insurance. It's better to have a $50,000 deductible, according to you, and I agree with you because I have probably that or more, than to have nothing. Because
Right.
you have nothing,
Absolutely.
you get absolutely nothing because your regular homeowner's policy does not cover earthquake insurance, and people really need to understand that.
And you know, you will still owe your mortgage if your house is damaged in an earthquake. You're still going to have to pay your mortgage. So having the funds available in the earthquake policy to then rebuild your home makes it a lot easier.
All right. Let's talk about some other things that State Farm does, and particularly your agency. What about annuities, mutual funds? Explain that.
We do offer annuities and mutual funds, and annuities are good because if you want to set your own pension plan up, that's what an annuity can do for you. It can give you guaranteed income for life, and it all depends on how much you put into the annuity will determine how much you get on a monthly basis. But as you look at your retirement and what your funds are that you have available, this is another way to guarantee that you've got monthly income coming in.
Now, is this separate and apart from, I guess, a 401k or something
Yes,
like that?
a 401k is a retirement program that you get through your job, and so that's different than an annuity.
But can you have both?
Oh yes, you can have both.
Oh,
You can have both.
Okay.
So you can, when you take your funds from your 401k, some of those funds you could put into an annuity and create that income stream for yourself.
Oh, okay. So you take it from your 401k and then put it into annuity.
Yes, you can do that.
Oh.
And then you've got a guaranteed income stream because that's something that's important. You know, we all have Social Security, but it's generally not enough to provide you all of the finances that you need. So sometimes having that extra income with an annuity can help.
Now, there's something else that I think is important. It's called an umbrella policy. When I think of an umbrella, I think of something that's shielding me from the rain. What about an umbrella policy?
So umbrella policies are really good if you're a homeowner. because it's all about protecting your assets and what do you have at risk. So the way an umbrella policy works, it sits over your auto insurance and your home insurance and rental property that you have. So say you have an auto accident and you injure or kill someone and you've exhausted all of the coverage that you have in your auto policy. Well, then you are personally responsible for compensating that person for their damages. But if you have an umbrella policy, which typically starts at $1 million, then we can use the funds from the umbrella policy to pay the additional damages that you owe. And it's really important if you've got something that someone can go after. So we really usually recommend look at what your net worth is, have your umbrella match at least that. But you have to remember also that in addition to protecting your net worth, which would be, your savings, your retirement, equity in your home, equity in rental property, that your wages, as I mentioned earlier, can be garnished. So that's something that someone could go after as well. And umbrella policies are very, very affordable. So it's something that we recommend for all of our homeowners.
Now, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm certain you will correct me, the umbrella policy can also cover, for example, you're serving on a nonprofit board or something like that?
Well, usually the directors and officers coverage at the nonprofit will cover you.
Well, what if you are serving on a board? I remember I was sued.
Oh, you were? Oh, my goodness.
I was sued a number of years ago when I was a Grand Pole Mark of Kappa Alpha Psi. I had an insurance, but the insurance had a clause in there that allowed for me to be protected if I was serving on a board, on a nonprofit board.
So then you have to look at each individual insurance companies because they don't all cover that. Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's something that is important to have, because had I not had that policy, I would have had to defend that case myself. Insurance company ended up paying, I forget the number of $1,000 of dollars, even though I had no idea what the case was all about. But anyway, they defended it, so I was happy.
That's why I say that's the beauty of having an agent. Because if you work with an agent and then the agent knew that you had this position, then they can make recommendations on the coverages that you have. But if you're just isolated and not talking to an insurance professional, you may have these gaps that could come to bite you at some time.
And we do not want to get bitten. We're going to have to, again, go to break. Don't touch that remote. My name is Robert L. Harris, and this is All About Community.
Rebecca Kaplan puts progressive values in action.
We have a responsibility to stand together in solidarity.
For those who are breathing toxic air every day, we will continue to work together to strengthen our efforts.
Join us and vote Rebecca Kaplan for Oakland City Council.
On November 3rd, East Oakland will make a critical choice. Your vote is about saving the Oakland we love. Shortages of affordable housing, homelessness, blight, and safety. And because we're at a crossroad, we need change. We need leadership that is responsive to the people. Marcy Hodge will see us through the challenges and fight for our district. Do your part, and she'll do hers.
I'm Marcy Hodge, your candidate for Oakland City Council District 7. Let's save Oakland together.
Hello and welcome back to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host. When we went to break, I was talking with Jain Williams, who is a State Farm agent right here in Oakland. Jain, I understand that you are actively involved with the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, I am, and I think
and that you are the secretary.
I am the secretary, that's right, and I think it's a great organization, and all of our African American small businesses should really become members.
And what about those that are not members? Are they losing out?
I think they are losing out because we have some great programs for small business owners. We just had a resiliency fund grant that we were able to provide to small business owners because of COVID. So that was something that they were able to get several $1,000s. That's the value of being a member, and we actually gave it to some non-members. But then we have classes on marketing, writing your business plan, accounting. We talk about how you get to be a vendor for different organizations and participate in RFPs for contracts. So it's just a great resource for small business owners to get information that they might not otherwise have.
So the membership in the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce provides enormous benefits, and not only benefits for you personally, but benefits in terms of networking with other business, so that you can learn who the other businesses are and that you can do business with each other.
Yes, because I think it's so important for us to support each other's businesses. Very, very important.
Good. Now, explain to me, what has the chamber done in terms of helping you get business?
I think a big part of it is the networking, that getting to know other small business owners that I might not have met and able to work with them on their small business insurance or their own personal insurance for their auto and their home. And then even promoting other small businesses that are in the chamber to other small businesses. So I may know about a florist. One of my clients is a florist and she's a member of the chamber. So when one of my other clients is looking for a florist, I'm able to recommend Ariana. So just having those connections, I think, just makes us all, it widens up the market for all of us.
And so everything becomes interconnected.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I know we're coming to an end, so give us again the information that we need in order to contact you. So look right directly in the camera and tell us all over again.
So my name is Jain Williams. It's Jain with State Farm Insurance. My office is at 4222 MacArthur Boulevard, and my phone number is 510-530-3222. And you can reach me on my website at jainwilliams.com, JAIN-Williams.com. And I do offer complimentary reviews, so if you're not sure if your insurance is sufficient for you, give me a call. I'm happy to take a look at it, give you recommendations for whatever your situation is.
And Jain, with that, I want to say that I greatly appreciate having you as my guest on All About Community. Don't forget that we have guests from various segments of the community. So if you're interested, please let me know. My name is Robert L. Harris, and this is All About Community. But please remember, no matter what you do, when you do it, or how you do it, in the final analysis, it is still going to be all about community. Thank you for joining me.